I'm doing some upgrades to the home studio, so today we are unboxing the new Zhiyun Molus B100 and B200 cob lights. Let's get right into it. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Desmond. I make content about tech and travel gear, and I do a ton of shooting in my home studio. That includes the talking head stuff, product videos. So lighting is actually really important to my setup. I try to give you guys the best quality video I can, and lights make the biggest difference when shooting good video. So today I've got a couple new lights that I was sent from Zhiyun. We've got the Molus B100 and the B200 right here. So we're gonna do a quick unboxing and take a look at the lights and some of the features. So first of all, let's just take a look at the box. I mean, it's pretty nice. It's well packaged. Obviously your light will show up, shipped safely. All the gear inside was perfect when I opened it up. And as I get this open, these are cob lights. So they're really high quality, high output, very different than some of the LED panels that I use in my home studio. The biggest difference with cob lights versus the panel lights I've been using is, one, output is huge. These things pump out a ton of light. The other, these have built-in effects, which I really like. And then they also work with your standard modifiers. So different light domes, light bulbs, and just things that you need to shape light more specifically and intentionally than, say, a flat LED panel. So we've got the box open. It's actually really quite simple, the items inside. You've got your power cable. This thing is massive, it's long, it's great for long productions where you don't want to run a lighting source off a battery, for example. You've got a standard modifier here with a reflective interior. I have my own light domes that I prefer to use, so I will not be using this. All right, so we've got the light here. This is the Molus 100 and this is the Molus 200. One thing you're gonna notice is these are actually exactly the same size. It's the output that's different. So you can see the 100 here has a much smaller output, and then here we've got a much larger lighting unit. So that's the biggest difference. So if you're kind of trying to figure out which one to buy, just get an idea of what kind of output you're going to need because the size is exactly the same. I'm gonna go ahead and put the 200 down and let's just talk about the 100 right now since form factor is exactly the same. Build quality I think is pretty great. The exterior is a high quality, almost transparent like plastic. I do enjoy that. The rest of this is a very high quality metal. You can see all the way inside. You can see the cooling rods, you can see all the fans, and you can see the electronics. I actually think this is a pretty cool look. So if you got a bit of an aesthetic going on in your production or in your home studio and you want everything to look relatively futuristic, this is great. Another thing that you're gonna notice is we've got an LED panel in the back. When I plug this in, I'll show you what that looks like. We've got two dials on the left and right. They have multi-function when you press and hold or press. The whole menu system is built into these two buttons, and of course you can dial. On this side you can dial the temperature of the light, and on this side you can dim the brightness. The other thing of course I'm going to show you is the front. The 100 of course has a much smaller light right here, but it all takes the same type of modifier. Like I mentioned, the biggest difference between a classic cob style light and the LED panels I've been using in my office is they give me a lot more options when it comes to modifiers. So I can use small, large, medium light domes. I can use light bulbs. I can use reflectors and all types of things that'll let me shape and control this light a lot more accurately than a standard flat LED panel. Although these do save a lot more room, this gives you a lot more versatility, control, and of course output, meaning power. And the Molus 100 is for 100 watts. The 200. This goes all the way up to 500 watts, so you can get a much higher output than this or the 200 that I have available. That's another thing that I like about it is you can kind of pick and choose what you need for your production needs. And for what this thing can do, the size is pretty good. This is not the smallest cob style light that I've got. I think I have something that's about a 60 watt that is much smaller, but again, almost half the output as this. And one of the things that you're gonna notice is 1, 2, 3 fans. So all these new Molus lights have what they call the Dynacort cooling system. And basically, I'm just gonna read off the spec sheet. They leverage this dual air pressure sensors for precision 2D modeling of the heatsink area. A lot of that is just fancy tech speak for this thing does an incredible job of keeping your lights cool. When you're producing this much output in such a small unit, you wanna make sure that the cooling system can kind of keep up with the heat that's being created by the light itself. So some other technical details to know, and I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in for you. Here's the power plug. This thing does not run off of an external battery source. It is plugged directly into your power outlet. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn it on so you can get a gauge of what we're talking about. So now that I've got this plugged in, let me just give you a look at the light in action. You can see it behind me. We have a temperature range from 2700 all the way up to 6500. And you can see how easy it is. I'm just using the dial here on the right. The other piece is this thing will dim all the way down to 0%, which, I mean, what's the point? But 1%, which is fantastic. You've got really good control. And of course, all the way up to 100. There we go. Let's see how bright this thing gets. You can see it's starting to blow out the entire image. Okay, so it's very bright, and with a quick click, I can set this back down to 0, and another click, it'll dial this back up to 20. So let me get this color temperature right, because it's throwing off the white balance in my video. So let's go to about 4500. Okay, so you can also see just how easy it is to kind of control and manage this light. And again, as you can see here, I can throw a modifier on. I'm gonna take the included. All right, so I've got the included modifier on, and you can see it's already shaping the light very differently. Let's dial this down so it's not blowing out the video, but it works like any standard cob light. There's a few other things that I want to talk about. So I showed you one way to control the light, that's with these onboard controls, but let me put this down. And the other way is with the Zhiyun Vega app. So in the app, of course, I can change the color temperature. Let me turn the brightness up so you can see the changes, but I can control color temperature here all the way down to 2700, dial it up to 65, brightness. Let's kind of blow out the video, and let's dial that brightness back down. So it's another really convenient way to set up your lights, especially if multiple Moluses set up in your studio or your production environment. You can connect them all to the app, and you can manage the entire scene from your phone. That's really nice. Let's bring the lights down. One other thing, and here's what I really like about this. If I long press on the right, I start to switch into the effects. There's 11 different effects. I've got this on strobe. I can change it to CCT flash, fireworks. So as you can see here, we've got some fireworks effects. And this is CCC loop. Let's see what else we got. Pulse, strobe, welding. Whatever type of scenes you're filming, you can do this if you want to film an Iron Man scene. Explosion. All right, that's pretty cool. Lightning, TV, bad bulb, fire, and paparazzi, which, again, warning, don't watch this video if you are sensitive to these types of light effects. And with a long press of that button, I can turn it back to the standard CCT mode. I'm gonna go ahead and dial this back down, or you know what, I'll just turn it off. So we've got the 100, and here is the 200. Really no differences here from a physical makeup. It is exactly the same size. It almost feels about the same weight as well. It's just this area here is obviously much larger because it's twice the output. All the features, settings, and functionality is exactly the same. We've got the buttons and the controls. Other thing I'll show you is, of course, we've got this section. This is the arm where you would attach it to your light stand or your clamp. You can connect that anywhere you want. This right here is a lot smoother than some of the light stand arms I've had where they've got those physical kind of rigid teeth. This just does a good job of locking in really, really well. And because it's such a light light, you don't really need a lot of power to keep this thing in place or at the angle that you need. So there's a few reasons why I would probably recommend a cob lighting setup over, say, LED panels, which is what I primarily use in my office. But it's for these higher production video shoots that you may be doing. The nice thing about this is the Molus is a ecosystem. So if I have the 100 and the 200 set up to the app, I set a particular scene, I can have different lighting effects and different controlled light for a product shoot. For B-roll, for even talking head, right? I can switch out my LED panels and use a more dedicated kind of Cobb style setup. Of course, there's a downside to Cobb versus LED panel, not that that's the point of this video, but for me, when I'm thinking about what my studio setup is going to be, space is a big one. So these are relatively small. Finding a place to kind of mount these against poles or different areas in my office is going to be great. The biggest thing for a lot of you that are working and really care about how you want to shape the light in your space, a Cobb is always going to be better than an LED panel. There's only so many types of modifiers and things that you can do with a flat panel of lights. A Cobb is going to give you all of the output that you could probably need for a shoot. This thing is incredibly powerful. This is the 200 and it's already really, really bright. But with those modifiers, you can shape the light to any particular need. So if you want something very dramatic and Rembrandt-y, or if you want something where you're trying to light up an entire dark room, you have options. You can put a bulb on here, you can put the large or medium or small domes, you can do all types of things. You can do a flat modifier as well. I think that's the thing that I miss about a classic Cobb lighting setup is the variety and the accuracy in which you can control your light. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, when you are creating video, one of the biggest determinants of quality and I guess the aesthetic appeal of your footage is gonna come down to light. Anyways, that's the unboxing and kind of initial walkthrough of the Molus 100 and the 200. I'm going to be setting these up as my primary studio lights. Again, I'm shooting in the garage for the Tesla. I'm shooting in the desk for product videos. So having these lights set up in a way that's easier to control for different scenarios is going to be really nice. So I'm going to keep testing these. You can get these on the Zhiyun website right now. They're probably even available on Amazon. I'm going to go ahead and leave a discount code in the description below if you want to pick one up. Biggest thing again to call out is the 100 and the 200 are exactly the same size. So I think it's about figuring out what output you're going to need. In all honesty, I'd probably just get the 200. You're going to get double the output. You don't get more size. So there's really not much point in buying the 100 if you can spring a little bit and just get the 200. It's the same exact footprint and you get double the output. I haven't seen the 3 or the 500 yet. Maybe I'll take a look on the website, but when it comes to the 1 and 2, I would just get the 200 right here because you're going to get so much more output. You get just as much control. You have all the different effects built in, and you have the exact same footprint with the exact same type of Dynavolt cooling system that they have built into this thing. All right, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more just like this. I will continue testing, and you guys let me know if you start to see a difference in the production value or just the quality of the lighting in my videos. But I will catch y'all later.